many times before. It's too late.
Uri kure nk'ijuru undebesha andi maso nkakubona uri inkuru nzaba riteka itarangira biganza birangwa mu bupfura iyo ugarutse ukareba uko nakuze biganza birangwa mu mutima.
Yes, I remember your father. I remember him very well. I think he didn't see me. He didn't know I was watching. I think. Or if he did, he pretended he didn't. I don't know. I had never heard him shout before, you know? Or ever heard him even raise his voice. What did he call me? I don't remember. I don't remember much of those days, but I remember hiding and watching him. I remember that. He was so big, so incredibly tall, your father, and so strong. Do you remember how he used to throw us up in the air when we were just really little? On that day that I hid and watched him, when he met my father, you know, I think he did see me. Or am I just imagining it? The world was collapsing around us children. Do you remember? Sometimes I think I have lived my whole life trying to understand what I saw. I don't know. We were neighbors before. We're neighbors now. We used to eat before together. We eat now together. That in between part. That in between part. Actually, I try not to think of him often. But when I do think of your father, I remember my father. My father was an upstanding man. I used to be so proud of him. He was my hero.
Yes. I remember your father. I remember him very well. I think he didn't see me. He didn't know I was watching. Even if he did, he pretended as if he didn't. I had never heard him shout before. Never have I heard him even raise his voice. What did he call me again? I don't remember. I don't remember much of those days. But I remember hiding and watching him. That I remember. He was so big, so incredibly tall, your father. And so strong. He was so strong. Remember how he used to lift us when we were young? And on that day that I hid and I watched him when he met my father. You know what? I think he didn't see me. Or I may be imagining it. The world was collapsing around us. You remember. Sometimes I think I've lived my whole life to understand what it was. I don't know. We were neighbors before. We're neighbors now. We used to eat together. We still eat together now. But that in between part, I don't remember. I try not to think about him often. But when I do think of your father, I remember my father. My father was an upstanding man. I used to be proud of him. He was my hero.
What if the walls we live with were built on illusions? What if the walls you built for others today became your own downfall tomorrow? What if you were the voice of reason that could burst barricades of confusion? What if you were the glorious light that could crumble the walls of darkness? What if your own children became victims of the burning walls of hate, the burning walls of prejudice you built? What if you were brave? What if you were trapped in the walls of fear built by self? What if these broken parts, this history, the wounded walls became your strength? What if beyond these walls sleeps despair, and you lay your life before death to cross the waters? What if beyond these walls live voices of survival, voices of hope? What if in you sleeps the hero that would conquer your shattered dreams? And what if these walls deprived you of all that is good, goodness that is warm on rainy days? Leadership, virtuous, did these walls black out the light that you could give your neighbor? What happened to turning the other cheek? This farce is a fallacy, used to turn you against your brothers, against your sisters. The truth you hear is not the truth. Is it a partial truth? An alternative truth? We've only heard one side of the story, a west side story, but what's your story? What's our story? Our story is our story. Our story is our truth. What if these walls built are a force of a false world that encases us as it destroys our humanity?